The clever man got himself up in the morning and woke up the other clever man, the messenger, and said to him, "Come with me on the road. I will show you how the whole world is mistaken and there is no king whatsoever." They went in the marketplace, and they noticed a soldier. They took hold of him and asked him, "Who do you serve?" He answered, "The king." "Have you seen the king in your life?" He answered, "No." He announced the first clever man, the simple man's friend, and said, "See, is there such foolishness?" In other words, the soldier serves a king but doesn't know him. The clever man still wanted to demonstrate with his foolish wisdom that there is no king whatsoever, as mentioned. After that, they went on to an army officer, and they entered in conversation with him until they asked him, "Who do you serve?" He answered, "The king." "Have you seen the king?" "No." He proclaimed, "On the contrary, look and see with your eyes that they are all mistaken, that there isn't any king here." It was settled among them that there is no king here. The first clever man declared, "Come, let's travel the world. I will show you, moreover, that the entire world is very mistaken with great foolishness." They went and traveled about in the world, and wherever they arrived, they always found the world in error. In other words, the clever man, through their wisdom, fell into such foolishness to the extent that they thought the whole world is always mistaken, and the matter of the king, the fact that for them it was proven that there's no king, had already become a byword for them, and wherever they found the world in error, they took the king as an analogy. Just as it is true that there is a king, so too this is true. They were out in the world and traveled until they ran out of what they had. They began by selling one horse and then the other until they had sold everything, until they had to go on foot. And constantly they kept examining the world and kept finding that the world is in error. And they became walking beggars, and they were already not all that at all distinguished, for by now people paid no attention to them at all, to such beggars. So they were out in the world until it turned out that they came to the city where the minister lived, the simple man, the clever man's friend, and there in that city was a genuine Baal Shem, master of a good name, master of the name, a holy man and miracle worker. And the Baal Shem was held in high esteem because he had done truly amazing things. And even among the nobility, he was a renowned person and was highly regarded by them. And the clever man came into the city, walked about, and came before the house of the Baal Shem. They saw many wagons stationed there with sick people, 40 or 50. The clever man thought that a doctor lived there. He wanted to go inside to him, since he, too, was a great doctor. He wanted to go in to make his acquaintance. He asked, "Who lives here?" They answered him, "A Baal Shem." He made a great laugh and said to the messenger, wise person, "This is another lie and foolishness. This is even more nonsense than the mistake about the king. Brother, let me tell you about this falsehood, how much the world is mistaken and so deceived." Meanwhile, they became hungry and found that they still had 4 groschen. They went into the food kitchen, and there one can get food for even 3-4 groschen, and they ordered for themselves to be served with food, and they were served. While they were eating, they talked and made fun of the lie and the error of the Baal Shem, and how the whole world is in error. And the Gorkecher, the manager of the food kitchen, heard their talk, and it upset him very much because the Baal Shem was highly esteemed there. He said to them, "Eat up what you have and get out of here." Then a son of the Baal Shem arrived there, and they kept on ridiculing the Baal Shem before his son's eyes. The Gur Kecher screamed at them for making fun of the Baal Shem before his son's eyes, until the Gur Kecher beat them severely and pushed them out of his home. They were furious, and they wanted to take him to court over his beating them. They decided that they will go to their homeowner, where they had deposited their bundles, so as to take counsel with him as to how to attain a court hearing against the Gur Kecher who had beaten them. They went and told the homeowner that the Gur Kecher had severely beaten them. He answered them, "Why?" They told him, "Because they had spoken against the Baal Shem." The homeowner answered them, "It definitely isn't upright to beat people, but you, however, behaved entirely not right by talking about the Baal Shem, for the Baal Shem is highly regarded here." They saw that he too was in error, so-called error, and they left him and went to the commissioner. And the commissioner was a Gentile. They told him the story that they had been beaten. He asked why. They said because they had spoken against the Baal Shem, and the commissioner also beat them murderously and pushed them out. They went away from him and went to a superior who had authority, and still could not procure a court hearing. And thus they kept going from one to another, each time to a higher one, and still accomplished nothing, but were beaten well every time, until they came before the minister, who was a simple man, as mentioned. And there before the minister were stationed sentries. They announced to the minister that a person needs him, and he ordered that he should come in. The clever man came before the minister, and he was coming in. As he was coming in, the minister immediately realized that this is the clever man, his friend. But the clever man did not recognize him, since he was now so great. Immediately, the minister started to talk with him and said to him, "See what my tamimus has brought me to such greatness, and to what your cleverness has brought you." The clever man spoke up and said, "That you are my friend, the simple man? We can speak about this later. Right now, give me a court hearing for them having hit me." He asked him, "Why did they hit you?" He answered him, "Because I spoke against the Baal Shem, that he is a liar, and it's all a swindle." The simple man, prime minister, spoke up to him, "You still adhere to your contrivances? Look, you said you can easily reach my level, but I cannot reach yours. Now see that I have already long reached yours, but you still have not reached mine. And I see that it is more difficult that you should arrive at my tamimus." Even still, since the simple man, the minister, had known him from long ago, when he was great, he ordered for him to be given garments to be clothed with, and he bid him to eat with him at mealtime. While they were eating, they began to converse, and the clever man tried to demonstrate to his foolish opinion that there is no king whatsoever. The simple man, the minister, screamed at him, "What are you saying? I myself have seen the king." The clever man answered him with laughter, "You yourself know that it was the king? You know him? You have known his father, his grandfather to have been kings. From where do you know that it was the king? People have told you that this is the king. They have deceived you." It annoyed the simple man very much, this matter, that he denies the king.